Peace. Hey, what's the word, y'all? What's the word? What's the word? Word is key. I wanted to tell y'all about somebody I met when I was out here on the street and I was homeless. I was on the north side, St. Louis. I went and sat on these benches. When I sat on these benches, it's a place where it's abandoned. So it was just 3 tabletops. And it was about 6 o'clock. I just left a friend and I was finna just go up here, get some food, eat. You feel me? And I was just mind my own business. So when I came up the cliff, I seen this man, I seen him and I nod at him, go like, and he see me, he nods back. And I start eating. And he says, "What's your name?" And I said, "Ian." He said, "Huh?" I said, "Ian." He says, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Can you come closer? It's hard for me to hear you." So I said, "Okay." I get up, come closer to him, come and talk to this man. And he says, "Where you from?" I said, "I'm from St. Louis. I'm right here from in Missouri." He said, "Oh." He says, you look like us, but you walk and talk like them." And I said, he said, "You bowed when you saw me." I didn't think really too much of it. I was just like, yeah, because I went like, he said, He says, "You look like you could be from Africa. You look Ethiopian." And I said, "Huh?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, big forehead and the dreads, lighter skin. And I was like, "I don't know. I could be, But as far as I know, I'm Native American on both bloodlines. But I'm pretty sure my ancestry goes somewhere back to Africa." I always said something along the lines of Egypt. I was always fascinated with Egypt and the hieroglyphics and the history. But I talked to this man. When I was talking to this man, two dudes came up out the blue. I didn't know who they was. They just came up to me and they come up like, "Hey, what's going on?" I said, they was like, "Hey, it's crazy." They trying to keep the black man down. I said, this was during the pandemic. They was like, "The pandemic going on. It's crazy out here. Shit." And he just he calmly he facing me. They come up from behind. He facing me. He just calmly says, "Those two back there, can you tell them to be quiet? They're trying to rape our conversation." And I was like, "What?" He said, "They're trying to rape our conversation." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Hey, I was like, I don't know what y'all talking about, but we kind of busy over here. We discussing something." And I was like, "Could y'all go over there? Because we having a private conversation." And he like, "Oh, y'all is, y'all." He's like, "Oh, that's cool, bro." He's like, "All right." You know what I'm saying? And then him and his friend, they walk over, but they don't walk off. This is an abandoned lot. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing over. But he goes over and he stands against the wall. And he chops it up with his buddy, and then he gets real loud. He says, "Hey, yeah, since they having a private conversation over there." And I just, I'm sitting over here with dude, I'm just, I was just laughing this dude, because he's doing the most, you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, damn, I ain't even really tripping off of it for it. But, Key, I'm talking to this man, and he He says, yes, they were trying to rape the conversation. You know, and my mind, you know, is different. I'm thinking about the words he used and the way his mind is putting these words together is making my mind think. And so he says, I said, what do you mean rape the conversation? He says, the tongue. This is the masculine element of communication. He says the ear. This is the womb, the feminine aspect of communication. And my mind started to blow just as he started to speak. Because I really broke it down and I sat there and thought, wow, this is how he thinks on something as simple as communication. And he said they're trying to rape the conversation. Meaning they were trying to, he was trying to come over and take control of the conversation and force us to hear what he was saying. And he went on to say, it doesn't even matter what they were saying, and they don't care what we're saying. It's not about communicating. It's not about understanding. It's about gaining control of the conversation. And I started to look at every conversation differently. I started to listen differently. I started to speak differently, just based off of me hearing that and realizing that and witnessing that. And so I further went on with this man. You know, he goes on to say, like, I'm talking with him. He says, you don't need a lot of stuff here. He says, you don't need a lot of money. He's like, you don't need money. You don't need a car and a house and he said the only thing you need is food, water, and shelter. He said food, water, and shelter. He said in the winter when it gets cold, he says you're gonna need a heat source. But that's all you need, food, water, and shelter. And I started to think about that, like, and that's what led me to camping. We tell ourselves we need a lot more than we actually need. We buy things we don't use or don't even need, but we tell ourselves, we justify why we need these things. And so I went on to talk to him more. And he says, do you know you're different? And he's like, you have melanin. He's like, just like the plants. How the plants respond to the sunlight, that's in your skin. That's in your brain. Neuromelanin. The same photosynthesis, the same communication with all plant life, with all beings. Plants, fish, birds, mammals. The ether. Even the spirits. You're in connection with them. He began to tell me well, this is the thing, he was a teacher. So he began to ask me. And the thing I'm learning about teaching and healing is when you heal someone, you only help guide them to their own healing. The spirit, the body, and the mind, the heart, they know how to heal themselves. All they need is the proper nutrition, the proper environment. the proper resources, and they'll flourish. The thing about teaching is, when you teach, you learn yourself. And when you really been here before for eons, you'll know. You're really remembering. So he comes up to me and he says, "Why do you think she asked you for a lighter?" I was standing there, this girl comes up, she asked me she has a whole pack of cigarettes, she pulls out her purse, she says, "You got a light?" And he says, "No." He's like, "Nope." Just like this, "Nope." And I say, "Yeah, I got a light. Here you go." She smokes, she said, what are you doing over here? You know, so I was like, "Dad, I was just talking about her, like over here, like we just chilling." She's like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "Have a nice day." I kind of shoot off because what he was saying was so important to me. Like my mind was starting to unlock as he was speaking. So I knew, like, this was this wasn't a thing to where I wanted to miss. He said we were on the same space, time, and frequency. And that's why I'm talking to you. The same space in the state, in the city, in the place. Same time. Sun had just came up. About 6:30. Same frequency. Chilling. We was both there eating breakfast. That's what I'm talking about. And there are no coincidences, only synchronicities. So he said, "Do you know why she stopped you?" I said, "Yeah, she probably just needed a light." And he said, "She just left the store. She has a whole pack of cigarettes. You don't think she got a lighter?" I said, "I didn't really think about that. I guess she could have had a lighter." He said, "Well, why didn't she just go to the store and get a lighter if she had enough to get cigarettes?" And then I started to think, like, you know what? You're right. He said she wanted to talk to you. She wanted you. I said, what could she possibly want? Because I've been homeless so long. I'm sitting on the curb. Shoes ate up, shirt holy, jeans. You know what I'm saying? Everybody know I'm homeless. And so I'm looking at myself and I don't see any value monetary wise. So I'm thinking, what could these people be wanting out of me? Different, because I sat here and spoke with this man. Everybody came up to me and said, hey, they look for a reason to speak with me. And this is what he told me. He said, when they come to you, they're not looking for an object they're asking you for. When they come and say what time it is, and they got a cell phone, they got a watch, you see they got a watch right there, they're not looking for that. When you see they got a whole thing of weed, all 20 Rellos, and they ask you for a lighter, they're not asking you for a lighter. When they come up and ask you for directions and they live there their whole life, they're not asking you for directions. He says they're looking for a yes. And a yes is permission for a spirit to engage in communication. Because it opens up that doorway. Just like in True Blood. Before the vampire can enter your house, what would he have to say? What did Bill say, Bill Compton? You would have to grant me access, or you would have to welcome me in your home. Before you engage with these spirits, you have to be in agreement, in alignment. And you can do that verbally. You can do that with eye contact, because these are the windows to the soul. And this is what he was telling me. that first yes that they were looking for, this was agreement. And then conversation starts after that. Yes, here goes the lighter. Here goes, oh, it's right down here. Now you're engaging with this person. You're exchanging energy. You're exchanging information. Time. You're engaging with these people. And I kept saying, he would laugh at me. Because I kept saying, like, they don't want nothing because I don't have them. That's what I said. I ain't have $1 in my pocket. So I'm thinking, I might have had a blunt or something like that, and a lighter, cell phone wasn't on. Like, it was like something like, they don't really want nothing. No. And that was the thing. Everything he came to see that he saw in me, that came to talk to me, was me. Is you. Potential. You are potentially limitless and infinite. And because you have little to no money, you think you're worthless. Because you've been indoctrinated and programmed in a capitalistic society, which would have you think money is more important than a person. He was sitting down and he was talking to me. And he said so much, I don't even know if, I know my mind recorded it, it's in my subconscious, but consciously, I stayed up from the night before, I was high, I was drifting in and out. He said, why your eyes closing? I said, I'm high, I'm drifting in and out. Then he was trying to tell me all these drugs. He said, why do you smoke? Because I'm high, it's good for you. It make you feel good, make me relax, keep me from stress, make me happy. He started to tell me about how all these drugs were suppressing me, and how I was using them as crutches and how to escape. Use them as a form of escapism, and then justifying them through different aspects of life. Kept saying he had a gift for me. And he never told me what that gift was. But I always assumed it was the knowledge that helped unlock my mind. I said, what made you talk to me? He said, you walk up and down these streets all day, every day, and you look like this. And he said, a key knows a lock, and a lock knows a key. And that's why I named him Keith. He never told me his real name. He told me he didn't want to be named. Didn't want nobody to know about him, know who he was. And he said he may see me again, may not.